Hello and welcome. Big news out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. Expected to release Shaq Barrett, and it's not necessarily the most surprising news, but it is still big news. Shaq Barrett, obviously a big name, and been with the team since 2019, so a fairly long tenured Tampa Bay Buccaneer at that. Thought of a couple different ways I could go about this video, kind of talking about Shaq Barrett, and part of it was, well, the contract that he's making, and potentially the Bucs clearing some money up and things like that. But I just kind of felt like the route I wanted to go was more so just an appreciation of Shaq Barrett's time with the team. So Shaq Barrett joined the team in 2019, and when he joined the team, it was, for those of you who don't remember, it was a really under the radar signing by the Buccaneers and Jason Licht. Nobody really knew what Shaq Barrett was going to be, knew who he was. He was just a guy that Jason Licht kind of picked up on a bargain value deal from free agency. And then that first year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course, Shaq Barrett exploded onto the scene, right? 19 and a half sacks. He broke Warren Sapp's franchise record for single sacks in a single season. And then, he led the league in sacks and was in Defensive Player of the Year contention. Of course, did not win it, but his name was in contention. And, he just was, in that season, I will never forget, 2019, games like the Giant game or the Panther game, the first Panther game on Thursday Night Football, Shaq Barrett was a force, and he was relatively unstoppable for a large portion of that season. People just couldn't seem to touch him. His off the edge, his wiggle, as a pass rusher was ferocious, and he was pretty unstoppable. 2020, of course, the Buccaneers go on to win the Super Bowl, and Shaq Barrett Shaq Barrett never lived back up to what he did in 2019 when he kind of took the league, just caught him by storm. But 2020, the Buccaneers go on to win the Super Bowl, and Shaq Barrett is a huge part of that. As Vita Vea got healthy and came back, you kind of saw Shaq Barrett reemerge, right? Vea got hurt during the regular season and didn't come back until late in the playoffs. And Shaq Barrett against the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau and then against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl was a force. And pass rush was a big part of the reason the Buccaneers go on to win both of those games, right? Barrett against the Packers may have been better individually than he was against the Chiefs, but then against the Chiefs, come on. The story of that Super Bowl, of course it's Tom Brady. Of course it's Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes, but the story of that Super Bowl was the Buccaneers' front and their ability to get after Mahomes, right? 497 yards scrambling behind the line of scrimmage for Mahomes in that game. Outstanding performance. And Shaq Barrett ultimately got himself a long-term deal, which was much deserved. Since then, however, it hasn't been the most glowing line of performances for Shaq. He just, it's tough to recapture 19 and a half sacks. And it's tough to recapture that Super Bowl performance. Both of those things stand out in my mind as just eliteness, for lack of a better term. But Shaq Barrett's been on the team for a long time, and since then, I can remember a couple awesome plays, right? The interception against the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoff game in Tom Brady's second year in 2021. The interception against the Chicago Bears to ice that game away. Safety against the Broncos, his former team. That was in 2020. So Shaq Barrett's had just a list of plays. And while his time coming to an end in Tampa, you wish him nothing but the best. Obviously, the writing was kind of on the wall when you talk about a pass rusher who is on the wrong side of 30 and last year was coming off an Achilles injury, right? That's a very tough injury for any athlete to come back from. But the older you are, the harder it's going to be to come back from. So, for Shaq Barrett, that's no doubt a very difficult thing to come back from. I wish him nothing but the best. His time in Tampa Bay not only included a Super Bowl, not too bad, but a heck of a lot of good memories. And not a Buck lifer by any means. Of course, he was a Denver Bronco first, but certainly a true Buccaneer and just definitely a part of the franchise's history and a big part over the last few seasons. So Shaq Barrett, thank you very much for your time in Tampa Bay, and we should all just take a moment. Think of your favorite Shaq Barrett play, moment. What is it?